You may remember a little while ago there was a German politician who blasted Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on how she said he treated Canadians during the pandemic. Christine Anderson is a German politician who's serving as an alternative of Germany member of the European Parliament. And Ms. Anderson joins us now from Brussels. Ms. Anderson, welcome to Bridge City News.
Thank you for having me.
Now, many Canadians would actually agree with some of the comments you made about Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, but what prompted you to speak out so broadly and so passionately about our Prime Minister?
Well, it seemed pretty clear to me. I mean, he was violating fundamental rights to an extent that he didn't even try to hide it anymore. And he was so open and honest about that he was undermining democracy, freedom, and the rule of law. And to me, I had the impression he just thought he could do whatever he wanted. But no, he will always have to count on people calling him out on that. And I really didn't want to run the risk of no one doing it. So, you know how it goes. I mean, the things you do yourself, they're done. So I just decided I will do it, just not to run the risk and no one will speak up. So I decided to do it.
Did you receive much backlash, or was there a lot of support following your comments?
Well, it was here and there. There was a huge support, from Canada, from Canadians. There was a lot of support from people around the world, really. There were some people, they started looking at me funny, when I walked the halls of EU Parliament. Obviously, they did not agree with me. But if I had to, I would say I received more support than I didn't, and the ones that really didn't like it, they either didn't speak to me at all or, just decided, that's it, we're going to hate her for the rest of her life. Well, let them. I really don't care. I mean, I'm doing this job. I'm serving the people, and that's what I intend to continue to do. So if these people in this place don't like me, I'm pretty sure I got it. I got it all right. If they don't like me. So.
Now, just months ago, we saw Chinese President Xi Jinping also blast Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Have you had a chance to chat with other world leaders, maybe even some in Europe, about how they view Canada's Prime Minister?
No, I haven't had the chance of speaking to other world leaders because most of the world leaders, especially in the Western democracies, they are more along the lines of what Trudeau is saying and what he's doing. So they would, rather defend him because let's not forget, they were all in lockstep when these restrictions were handed down and were implemented. They were in lockstep. So I really don't think they are that keen on, talking to me about Justin Trudeau, because as outspoken as I am, they may not like what I have to say about him.
Now, as you know, here in Alberta and Canada, oil and gas is a big part of our economy and our GDP. When the German Chancellor was asking Canada for the components to pump much needed natural gas to the German industry, how did you feel that Justin Trudeau kind of approached the subject? Some say that it appeared like he didn't really care about the needs of the German people. How did you view it?
Well, I was like, well, that serves our chancellor just right, because they're so obnoxious, our climate change, and, Germany once again sets out to save the entire planet, because Germans always do, kind of. So now it's this climate change, and we are marching in front of the parade, and we are shaming all of the other countries that would not go along with our idiotic plans of shutting down all nuclear power and all of that. So it served him just right. He cannot just, our government, it wasn't his government, he was part of the government. They shut it all down. They literally cut us off of any energy supply. And then I remember the UN summit where sitting President Donald Trump, he was pretty much outlining for Germany that we're making a huge mistake. And on top of that, we have become dependent upon Russian gas. And the representatives of the German government, they were laughing their butts off at this ridiculous comment that Trump made. Well, it turns out he was right now, wasn't he? Yes, we became totally dependent upon Russian gas because we just want to save the planet and we shut down all of our nuclear power plants. And we are an industrial nation. So he should not, or Germany, in my point of view, should not be rewarded for being just so stupid. And we should not be rewarded that we would afford for ourselves the most ridiculous and most stupid government in the entire world.
Now, a couple of months ago, Qatar signed a deal with Deutschland to supply natural gas into the 2040s. Now, when you see something like this happen, what conclusions do you think Canadians should draw upon our present leadership here?
Well, I mean, just that Qatar deal, I mean, that is a heck of a lot better now. We're not getting the gas from Russia anymore because Russia is bad, but Qatar is just fine. Really? Last time I checked, no, they were not. But, it's like, once again, they're looking at issues, but, the judgments they're passing, it always depends on what they're trying to get at. So they do not judge instances on the merits. They, rather on what, they may benefit from. So, I mean, yeah, if we now get the gas from Qatar, well, I guess, yeah, they kind of do. But the thing is just, I mean, we are bound by contract to get Russian gas. But guess what? We told Putin now, no, you are such an evil guy. We will not take your gas. But since we're bound by contract, we won't get it, we won't take it, we'll refuse to take it, but we still have to pay it. So and what happens now is Russia is now paying the gas we will not take, but paid him for it. He is sending this now to India, and we're buying it from India, the very same gas, and we'll pay it again to India. Is that absurd? I mean, seriously.
Let's talk a lot about those who are preaching about renewable energies. Some people call them green gospel crusaders, and a lot of them are attacking Canada's energy sector, or oil and gas, but not necessarily Norway or maybe Saudi Arabia, some of the Middle Eastern countries. Why do you think that is?
Well, once again, they're like picking at certain countries and trying to get them online. So the public is being gaslit, the public is being manipulated. It's all bad. If we have to save the climate, we have to save the planet. So this is what we have to do, and we will start in Canada. We will start here. We will start there. But the other countries will have to fall in line. They just start somewhere. The same you see with the farmers in the Netherlands. It's this particular issue is starting in the Netherlands. But make no mistake, it will get to your front door very quickly.
Now, some Canadians feel that our leadership has abandoned sound business principles, but have also abandoned its citizens and even our allies in their time of need, especially when it comes to some of the natural resource sector, including natural gas. Now, Christine, in your opinion, is this a page out of the World Economic Forum playbook, or is this seen as simply inept management?
Well, I'm not really sure if it's, the World Economic Forum playbook. I mean, they are propagating, these scenarios, and they want us to do it. I'm not quite sure if they're actually the ones calling the shots, because, the World Economic Forum is just one player. It's just one, they're the ones, hanging their noses into the camera like Klaus Schwab and whatever, but they're not the ones calling the shots. I don't think so. I don't know who is calling the shots, but you have this organization here, then you have the WHO over there. I mean, they're doing exactly the same thing, just on another issue. But it all boils down to removing democratic processes further and further away from the people, to remove political accountability, which is like the foundation of every democracy. This is what we're seeing here. And you have very different areas where they're doing this. You have climate change, you have this gender idiocy, you have the whole COVID madness. All of these things all have the very same goal, to disenfranchise the people.
Are you seeing any of the WEF policies impacting some of the countries in Europe right now?
Yeah, there are. There are so many. I mean, they're talking about it, and they're having a forum, and they're inviting all the world leaders, and they're selling them their ideas of a better world. And then in turn, the politicians turn around and tell the people, well, we're going to live live in a better world. All we have to do is this, that, and the other. And a lot of people, unfortunately, they're falling for this. Just the promise of living. I mean, who doesn't want to live in a better world? But people need to look at how are they actually trying to achieve that better world. And then let's ask, a better world for who exactly? That's the question. So when you look at, for instance, these housing quarters they're erecting now in Saudi Arabia, the Neom City, it's supposed to house 9 million people in the middle of nowhere. They're under total control, nowhere to run. And I mean, is that the better world they're talking about? So a better world for who? That's my question. And before I don't get a satisfying answer on that, I will not buy their crap.
Now, during the month of February, many are commemorating the one-year anniversary of the Freedom Convoy, the rally of all the truckers that went to our nation's capital in Ottawa. How did you view this event, and what did you think of the convoy and rally that it really did for freedom here in Canada and across the world? It inspired a lot of people.
Yes. Gosh, when I heard about that, I was like, finally someone is doing something. And the icing on the cake really was that it was so successful because it did travel. They were not only rolling in Canada. I mean, symbolically, they were rolling over the entire planet. And as you said, yes, they were inspiring a lot of people. And it was a spark of hope for so many people, millions and millions of people that was sent around the world. And it was after that you saw these huge protests in pretty much every single country all around the world. Well, where it was allowed to, in the Western democracies. But that's what sparked it, because that's really what people needed. They were so devastated. They were hopeless. They didn't know what to do anymore. They were threatened with their livelihoods. You won't have a job if you don't get the jab. You may have to pay for your treatment yourself. And guess what? No, we lock you up in your house. You're no longer allowed to leave the house. I mean, all this pressure, and there was like nothing that the people saw they could do about this. And if they did, they were being discredited. They were called right-wing extremists, whatever. I mean, the whole shebang went down. And then this happened in Canada, and the truckers just started rolling. Gosh, I was like, that's it. Yes. And I decided, well, these guys need all the support they can get. And that's really why I decided to speak out about it, because that hope, that's what the world needs right now. And it changed the whole thing. It really did.
Now, you're coming to our great land here in Canada. You're going to be touring a few cities. What message do you want to convey to Canadians?
Well, first of all, a big thank you. Because, like I said, this is how it pretty much started. I mean, people, once again, they were hopeful. Somebody is doing something. And they got the guts to get together to take to the streets themselves and question their government and fight their governments. So it's really a big thank you. And I just want to meet the people who made this who made this possible, and who made this all, that it happened. So yeah, the major message for me really is a huge thank you.
So if people want more information about the upcoming events, where can they go get tickets and more information?
Yeah, there is a website up. It's www.cadtour.com, and it stands for What Would Christine Anderson Do Tour.
She's a European Member of Parliament, Christine Anderson. Thanks so much for joining us today from Brussels. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to coming to your beautiful country.